Good day to you. My name is Maria Kondzielska and this is Poland Daily Culture. And today even more Poland Daily, breaking the boundaries between culture, because with me is Benjamin Burg, an educator and entrepreneur from US living in Poland. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you told us all of those lovely stories of how you organize trips beyond the classroom for Polish teenagers to go to US, which I'm sure needs to be, which is an amazing experience for them, and it needs to be an amazing experience also for you. But how did you cope with all this task during the pandemic, of course, because COVID stops a lot of things?
You know, I'm glad you asked. You know, I think myself and the directors at the schools that I work with, we were probably discussing COVID before anybody else. You know, I first got wind of COVID in early February 2020. I remember I had a call with Stan Albright from New Mexico. Like, Ben, what do you think about this COVID? You know, should we worry about it? Nobody knew, right? So the first thing I did was I kind of like went through the budget and figured out what stuff I had to pay for now, like airplane, and what I could afford that I could return. So it was just basically rewriting the cancellation policies. I rewrote them, I sent them over, they were acceptable. 2 weeks later, we're calling again, and we're like starting to go through like what ifs. What if someone gets sick? What if this? I'll tell you the funniest thing. We were joking. We were really joking. Well, I was like, Stan, what happens if we all get sick? Nobody knew how serious it was, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, well, if we all get sick, then we'll have the immunity and we'll be okay. But nobody knew. Like, nobody knew. And this was end of February when we were talking this way. By mid-March, I'm starting to create this what if list. And as I'm going through this table, what if this, what if that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never had to answer these kinds of questions before. This trip is never going to happen. I mean, I kind of like knew it right then. 3 days later, schools shut down. We canceled the trip. This was for the Americans coming to Poland in May. It was really sad. I mean, it was like, it was a way for me to earn some income, so that kind of was upsetting. But I remember in September 2019, seeing a young kid from New Mexico coming running up to me. I had seen him 3 years in a row. Right? I saw him when he was in 5th grade. I saw him when he was 6th grade. I saw him when he was in 7th grade. And now he's in 8th grade. And he's like, Benjamin, this is my year to go to America, to go to Poland. And I remember my 8th grade trips, when I was in school. These are once in a lifetime opportunities. I can't imagine what it would be like to see your elder kids going, and then all of a sudden it's your turn.
And it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. I'm going to get those trips back. I'll go again. I'll earn some income for delivering these fantastic trips again. But you don't get 8th grade back.
True.
It doesn't come. And that impression, when you see it, now you're in high school, it's never coming back. That was really hard for me. And when the trips would come and I wasn't going to the airport to pick them up, it's like something was missing. And unfortunately, like nobody knew how long it was going to last. First like, okay, well, we'll go back again in September. And then, oh, okay, September's not going to work. We'll come back in spring. That now we're up to spring 21, this last, 6 months ago, 7 months ago. 7 months ago, with these trips not happening, I decided to have a Zoom reunion call with students who had traveled with me in the past. And I asked them during this call, like, what is the most important thing that you learned during these trips? And we discussed it. And sort of like the consensus that we came from was they all felt that the ability to adapt. And it wasn't like adapting to like harsh conditions. It was adapting to the new families. And when you're a teenager, it's so much more important what kind of family you're going to spend a week with. And these families, were a little bit different. They were Americans. They had a little different approach. And it was nervous. It was scary even. And they felt like they were able to overcome this fear and adapt to these new situations. And it was rewarding. And I was like, wow, I love it when the students teach me. Because here I am, depressed, struggling. What am I going to do? My trips are gone.
And you have to adapt as well.
I have to adapt. So I started to adapt. And what I did was I'm coming up with new programs. I want to take advantage of, I was selling video conferencing. Video calls work. Collaboration works. I want to, include that in my new trips. I want to include like virtual calls with the students that we're going to visit, learn about the issues before we get there, become more prepared, go do something about it. I also want to include in all of my trips like doing something important for the world, whether it's about sustainability or helping children with under-resourced children gain better knowledge and awareness, helping animals, understanding our relationship with animals, because then that helps us understand our relationship with nature and how to live sustainably and for the future. So I want to focus on that, on those types of issues, use the virtual technology that we have today, and then travel, do something, and then come back again right away. Because there's so much energy right before you travel. You're all excited, so you tap into that energy. Let's communicate, travel. And then the same energy is there when you come back. Every trip I've gone on, like, oh, this is what I was doing 3 days ago. This is what I was doing a week ago. That energy is still there. Tap into it and use that to document what we've been able to achieve.
Previously, as I understand, those trips were a little bit dedicated to more privileged families and kids who have some money to go to school within at least a American teacher. So I guess, are you trying to extend it to kids who are probably their parents cannot afford?
Under-resourced children,
yes.
Absolutely. In fact, so what I did, I'm this entrepreneurial kind of character. I had another startup that I had worked on. It didn't quite work out. But when I look back at my trips program, I was like, wow, I'm hitting all of these buttons, like right on the nose. There's a clear problem. Kids need to learn, kids need to develop self-leadership skills. They need to learn to develop teamwork and collaboration. They need to learn critical thinking and put in, like things aren't always going to be black and white. How to examine two different sides and be able to argue both of those sides. So that you can come up with really what your opinion is. And also, I think, is also as important as digital fluency. It's important for us to know how to use the digital tools that we have. So I'm really trying to hit those 4 buttons, a clear set of problems, a solution for that, and I've been able to validate it, over and over again. So I'm like, wow, I've got something. So I opened up a nonprofit. During the summer, I had a very active fundraising campaign. We raised a bunch of money. I'm going to do another fundraising campaign for the holidays. So stay tuned. Hopefully, we can, some of your viewers might be able to have an opportunity to help support our initiatives. And we want to use that money to give kids who don't have the resources, as my brother called it, a trip of a lifetime. And it really is
I fully agree. I also would say that one of the best present you can give to children is not an object, is an opportunity. And such trips beyond the classroom, to go to US, to see everything, to learn the language, to see the host family, is, I would say, a life challenge. So if any one of you would like to make such kind of Christmas present to a child who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford it, I'm pretty sure it would be a wonderful, wonderful experience also for you to see the changes in this child. So if you're interested, go and check the Trips Beyond the Classroom by Benjamin Burg. And again, thank you very much for watching Poland Daily Culture.